right? Every language has a set of reserved keywords. We'll be able to learn what are those for Python. Reserved keywords are reserved words in Python which cannot be used for function name, variable name, or any other identifier. You just cannot use them. If you use them at all, you'll get an error. Okay, let's try. Let's go ahead and do. Let me change the font first so that you can all see it. Guys, I'll be using putty because it has a simple GUI. Only when I have to write an actual program, I'll go into PyCharm. That's how I'm going to take this class, because it makes more sense. If I have to show you some documentation, it's much more readily available here. There's a lot of clicks that you might have to do. You have to do in PyCharm, so I'm not taking that route. But for you, let me use PyCharm, consistent across. Okay, and if I have to use this putty, then I'll go back. Otherwise, most of the other time I'll use PyCharm only. So if I say now, we'll start with this. Okay, let me try. Here you see this reserve keywords and equal to, if I say testing, and if I try to run it, see, it's already saying statement found Python, and then that's why let me just put it here. It makes much more sense for me to explain it in this here. It starts showing you the error, right? And hence it will be very easy for you to debug. So I do not want to show that. So let me go here, and maybe you can use idle or anything, or for working purpose you can use PyCharm, but for explaining, it makes more sense for me to go to this, either idle or any of the terminals. So if I say this one, you see it says invalid syntax, right? Okay, and equal to testing and, or see, it's giving you trying to and equal to trying to declare a variable with name and add. Here this and is a reserved keyword. Okay, so it should say trying to declare a name with variable and syntax error, invalid syntax. That's what it gives you, syntax error, invalid syntax, right? But let's say, for example, if I just do and equal to okay, testing A, and then it's successful here, and then if I just give and, it says testing A. So as if you give those reserved keywords, it's going to give you an error. Okay, so be very careful with that, because you're not going to test each and every line of code whatever you're writing in PyCharm. And with PyCharm, the best thing is that even before you write, you start getting this error: statement expected font py and keyword. You see, it's so easy, right, using PyCharm. So use whatever you're comfortable with. It's just that for explanation purpose, I am going to because this is more command oriented that I'm trying to teach you here, and hence I'm going back to my terminal. Now that's one thing. They are used to define syntax and structure of the Python language. Reserve keywords, right, which you understand. I mean, almost all of you are programmers, so you understand the meaning of reserve keywords. All the Python keywords contains lowercase letter only. So instead of this, let me try to do, and then it works, right? You see this? So it's case sensitive as well. If instead of small a, I do a capital A, it works perfectly fine. So keywords are only defined using small case letters. Now let's go here one by one. I mean, what is and? Okay, let's try to see what's and. I'm going to explain you all these that are listed here, so that you have more clarity on what these commands are or what these keywords are. So let me define. A equal to 5, okay, and then B equal to 10. Oops. See, the most important thing, I'll keep on repeating myself, is indentation here, okay. You'll have to be very careful about indentation. A is 5 and B is 10. Now you see this, and it's like a logical operator, okay. A and B, if it is true, right, A equal to 5 is true and B equal to 5, B equal to 10 is also true, and then hence it's printing A is 5 and B is 10. But if I do this, there is nothing to print, because it it's not, B is not equal to 11 here. So and is a simple and operator, a keyword that you might have seen in anywhere else in any other programming language. Now likewise, if is also same. I'll not explain some of the things that I think is easy and you might already know it, okay, but I'll go ahead and explain some things which you might not have seen. Like let's say, for example, for those of you who are not from okay, I can see a couple of questions, guys. I'll do one thing, I'll take the question now, but for others, let me first complete it and then I'll come back to your question, okay. Otherwise, I have got this feedback, okay, in the past, saying that it disturbs the flow. But for now, let me take the question. Okay, that's syntax, Arun. You'll have to put colon at the end for this control statements like if, for, case, etc. Right? For all these control statements, you'll have to put colon in the end. Just one weird question. No, Prashant, no questions are weird. If I am defining A equal to testing and then outputting it, print A, or just typing A at Python, output is different. When typing A, it comes with testing, A equal to testing, then outputting it, print A. Okay, let me A testing, print A testing. Right, it's not weird, Prashant. That's how it has been defined. I mean, if you don't say print, this is what you're saying, right? What's that? A equal to, if I say A, okay, now let me again define this. See, if wherever you have this indentation problem, right, testing A, and then when you say print A, this is how it is. This is how it has been defined, So this particular concept will be used majorly while you are programming. Whenever you do not want this codes, right? When you are just printing A, it's printing a complete string here. But when you explicitly mention print, it's just giving you an output. Okay. So that's how it is. And when you are actually writing programs, you'll be majorly using this concept. Okay. Okay, Prashant. So, guys, one thing quickly, right now, I will only take questions in at logical conclusion. Let's say, let me complete this first. Let me complete some of these keywords, and once I have done that, I'll be taking your questions. Okay. Now, also, let's say try. You might have used try, catch keyword. I mean, most people, folks from object-oriented background, you must have used try, catch, finally, so on and so forth, right? But for other folks who are not from object-oriented background, try something wherein you write your piece of code, and if there is any exception to it, then you catch exception, or if there is an error, you just catch it somewhere and then you handle it. That's what it is. So instead of I have done some homework myself, written some piece wherein I can explain, instead of me typing so much, right? If I continue to type all this, it will take hours to complete this course. So I have done some homework myself, and here it goes. Okay, in try, what I have done is, while it's true, just go inside this loop and try x equal to int of this is type conversion. Okay, I'm going to explain that if you do not understand right now. The raw input is nothing but I'm trying to catch an input from a keyboard. I'm sorry, my entry from keyboard, I say please enter a number, and then it catches that number, converts it into int, and it just puts it here, and it just breaks out. Okay, so let me execute this here. Now executing this, please enter a number. I say A, right? Is it a number? It's not a number. So what should happen? It should just print me this one, right? Please, oops, that was no valid number. Try again. Now it goes back, because this is a while loop. It has gone back and it's still waiting for me to enter a valid number. So if I say B again, it's going to show me the same thing over and over again. But as soon as I type a number, it's going to come out, right? So that's the importance of here. You learned a couple of things. You learned about while. I'm sure all of you know this. Okay, it's just that I'm refreshing your memory. While, try, except, all these things you would have learned from this. And there are other things also that you have learned is, if you give a raw input, it just takes a number from a keyword, or you are making the application more interactive, or your code more interactive. There is okay, here to call to this. Here, the most important thing here would be, just look at this. Okay, look at this indentation. If you do not give a proper indentation, this is going to fail. In Python, indentation is the most important thing. Okay, I'm going to show that to you. If I do not type things properly, it's going to fail. Now the third thing that I'm will show is, let's go and explore. Let me open a duplicate session. In the meantime, try is over now. EXEC. We will see. The next thing that I'm going to show you is, okay, don't worry about this. From an import. Okay, from and import are used whenever you are trying to import some other packages. For example, let me show this to you. See, I am importing packages OAuth2, right? And then I'm importing only a specific. I can import only a specific class from that package, or I can import only one specific object from that package, and that's how you can, from datetime, import datetime, or import auth as auth, right? And then you see this here, import math. This is how I use import and my from statements. And what else here? Raise is used to either raise exception or raise anything, or maybe come out of the programs that you are running in, right? Here, okay, let me go here and then try to show something. Okay, let me try to show some import as an example. I have written a small program for you. Here, right? So which is the program try example. Okay, let's see that vi and try example. Okay, this try example.py, it's a Python file. Okay, cd, I go inside this location, ls vi. So you see this the same code which I executed from outside. How do I execute from inside? There are a couple of ways to do it. Okay, this is very interesting. Just have a look at this. Now if I want to execute it, I can just say, I can just go to this place. I'm already in this place now. Okay, I'm already in this particular directory, and then I can start my Python, and then I can say, see, I just call this, and because I'm already in that location, I'm already inside my Python folder where I have my code, try example, right? I can just say import try example, and then it will ask me, exactly the same thing that I did last time. And if I give a valid number, it just comes out, right? It's done. That's the logic in my code. Now, you might ask me one thing, what if I am not in that particular location? I want to execute it from some other location. Okay, so in that case, you can do one thing. You can say import OS, and let's say you want to know the current working directory of this OS. You can say print OS. I've just imported OS into my current cell, and then now I say print OS that get current working directory. You say this print OS dot get current working directory. When I do that, I get home Hadoop. This is the current working directory that I am in. Okay. Otherwise, how do you know that? And then to execute a file, I just use, it's just that I'm not typing in, guys. I have written this already, and I prepared this. So, if I'm going a little faster, please do let me know. And then I say, because I know I am inside this directory, home Hadoop, I say execute file on this particular, execute this particular file. I have given a complete path here. Okay, the absolute path here. When I do this, it's again the same thing, right? Okay, so there are a couple of ways that I learned. You can directly execute this in your cell or wherever you want to execute. You can either go to that particular directory. In that case, start your Python and say import. That will also do the same thing for you. The third would be to execute it from a different path. Okay, and finally there is one more thing that you can do. Okay, I'll have to say imports this as well for that, and this is I'm just adding my path, which is home Hadoop Python, to my absolute path here. I'm just adding this to my path variable. Okay. Yes, Amit, I'm coming to that. Amit has a question here. Does Python find the current working directory only? Yes, it finds only the current working directory. Is there any restrictions for finding a directory structure? There is no restriction. It's just that you'll have to add that in path. That's the next thing that I'm doing here. Okay, Amit. You see, the next thing I do here is system.path.append. I'm just appending to the path, the absolute path, which is home Hadoop Python, and that is what it's home Hadoop Python here, right? This is what I'm trying to add in my path. So when I do this, the path has been added, and I can use exactly the same thing like what I used the last time. Okay. Otherwise, let's say for example, if I am outside of this path, right? Let's say I go outside of this path and I try to execute this. You see, it says unable to open X server, error, import. It's not able to find, basically it's not able to find the file, right? But if I just say append the path, it's able to find the path, and then it's asking me whether, please enter a valid number. Okay, is this clear, guys? We saw 4 different ways to execute a file, right? If it is in, first of all, you can go into that current directory and then say import. Second, you can say exec file, right? Third, you can say sysappend, and fourth, you can just directly execute it in your shell. So these are the 4 different ways. You saw this. So the most important of all this, I would say, are these 2. Okay, one exec file, and second system path dot append. You do not have to remember this because anyways you are going to have this videos. You can refer to this later because you'll not be able to remember every packages that I import here. Sys, OS, so on and so forth. These are just the start, and I'm going to import many more packages. So just keep this in mind that you can do this. You just have to have that in mind, and rest you can either refer to the video or you have many other options. Just follow the Python documentation and you'll be able to do it later. Okay. Yes, absolutely, Sayed. It does work on terminal as well. And this is a terminal only, right? I'm connecting to my VM and then I'm trying to execute it. I could have done the same thing in terminal. I tried, it's not working. So there must be some problem with your terminal setup, Sayed. If you can send me, you can send me the screenshot of your error later, and we'll try to fix that, help you fix that. Arun says you imported some packages. Where should be these libraries available in the system if I need to use this library in idle? It automatically. If you import it through PyCharm, you're not going to import it just like that. If you automatically import it through PyCharm, right? You go here, settings. Currently, I have not imported anything, okay, Arun? Currently, I have not imported anything. So I think for now, you don't have to even worry. If you directly import from here, if you import, it gets into your path here. If you see this path, C Python 27 libraries, it goes all inside here, right? But currently, don't worry about that, because if you are downloading it using your PyCharm, right, that's an easier option, and you do not have to do anything. Otherwise, you'll have to download the binary version and then store it in particular drive, and then recompile your Python. So don't do that for now. Okay, we'll come to that later. Just right now, download PyCharm and use the way I have used it. From again, global is nothing but you're trying to declare a global variable, right? So that's one thing. We'll look into what is assert. Okay, sorry. Now that's from an import. Now, okay, lambda. Okay, now we see this. Generally, a function definition is something like this. Okay, a function definition in Python will have, you're defining a function, right? Defining a fx, which is a function which returns x exponential of 2, right? This is how you define a function. And how is it that you call? You just call the function like this. You say f8, you're passing 8 here, it should return you 64, right? This is a named function. But using lambda, you do not have to do that. All you have to do is you define it as a lambda of x, and x equal to lambda of x equal to x to the power 2. When you do this, okay, and then pass 8 to it, you get 64. So many a times while you are writing programs, right, you might not want to this function is there to stay, right? You can call this function from anywhere, but many a times while you are writing a package, you might just want to create a function for internal usage, and so many a times you would create this kind of function, lambda function. So it is just an alternate way. You can either create a function, define fx equal to, and then you just return this. In case of lambda, you don't even have to return it. You just say g equal to lambda of x to the power of 2. That's it. Okay, that's about lambda. And anyways, I think as and when we move along, this I'm going to again and again talk about all these functions in my program. So if there is something that you think this can be used, and you have a question in your mind which you are not sure of as yet, don't worry about it. We're going to cover that. Now, all of you know about break, pass, and continue, but let me. This is no. Don't worry about the lambda. If you already know about this if and all raw input. I'm not going to take this. exec, we have already seen one exec global. Let's go and see for, right? It's not for that I'm taking this. I'm taking this for some other purpose. Now in this case, right, you see this for, okay, you understand for, right? It's for is a basic loop, right? Here I have a variable for x in range. I am trying to explain range here more than for. Okay, in prompt there is if I'll just so that you, Chris, you're saying it's more like you want to clear everything in your interactive Python. That's what you're saying in this prompt. Is that your question? Okay, it does not work here actually. If you see here, it does not work here. It's just your interactive Python and the shell script, or the clear command, or CLS SCR, right? I mean, this does not work here. Actually, I have not used that command, or never felt the necessity to clear my screen in this. This is only for explanation purpose that we use, and most of the times while we are writing program, it's mostly PyCharm, so or maybe Eclipse or any other IDE. Otherwise it becomes very difficult. You'll have to know all the packages and stuff. So it's only for explanation purpose, and I don't think you have any such command there. Or just go ahead and do something like this, if that helps. Okay, so coming back to your for loop, right? See here. Now, what is this range? Okay, I'm trying to explain a range here. A range is nothing but, it will give you a list of values starting from, in this case, it will give you 3 values starting from 0. Okay, so range of 0 to 3 will give you 0, 1 and 2. Now see, we are on time D and we are trying to print this here, okay, X here. Now we are on time 0, which is, it's taking the value of X. We are on time 1, we are on time 2. So basically the range has given you value 0, 1 and 2. More than X, I was trying to explain you the range function. Now that's about range here. And now assert statement exists in almost all other programming language. It's more like, assert a condition. If it's like if it is true, just go in, or if it is not, just come out. You're telling program to test the condition. That's all. Here if you go, assert is something which you are telling. In other programming languages you would write something like this, right? If not condition raise assertion error. In this case you can just say assert a condition, and you are just telling the program to test the condition and abort as if the fatal error has occurred. If any error occurs, you just come out of it, or you just continue processing as you do. It's roughly equivalent to this one. Okay, assert condition is equivalent to this one. What was the other? Pass, break and continue. So you see this. Okay, let me just assert one is fine. I mean, it's true. Assert 1 equal to 4. Now you see this, it just gives you an error, and then you just come out. Okay, so it's like if not condition, then just come out. And finally is again, you'd all know this, but let me put it here. All I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to divide x by y, and inside my try block I have result x by y, except when you have 0 division error, it just prints the division by 0. Else print result is, it gives you result, or and finally it executing finally clause. Okay, this is my function here that that I have defined. Now let me take an example of 2 by 1. 2 by 1 should give me the result is 2 and executing finally clause. So after it has given me the result, it goes to finally, it executes finally. In any case, here it goes to print result is 2 and then it goes to finally and executing finally clause when you do a divide 2 by 1. Now when you do divide 2 by 0, it says division by 0 because 2 by 0 it's a 0 division error. It goes here, it does a division by 0 and it executes a finally clause. And the third example is, okay, instead of your number here, right, instead of number here, let me use a string. If I use a string, it just says, it just directly executes a finally clause because it's not division, 0 division error, or it is not, it does not give you result. You're trying to divide two strings here, so it gives you error. And then, but eventually it executes your finally clause. Okay, that's about finally. I see a question here. Okay, Sasank, finally is something, right? It's you have try and catch block, right? Finally is something which executes nonetheless. I mean, it is a block wherein wherein your control will pass eventually. Okay. And this is mostly used in object-oriented programming, but don't worry about this. I'm just trying to explain you keyword. We have a complete object-oriented class next Saturday and Sunday, so that is when we'll cover all these things in complete detail. I'm just trying to explain keywords right now. The reason why I'm giving you this idea for all this function is because anyways this is being explained later, so I did not want to keep it for later. Okay. But the object-oriented concepts and stuff, Sasank, that's for the next class. Okay, make sense? Okay, so that's about it. And then you have, see, you all know the break, continue, and pass, right? These are three keywords, that's used that's used randomly, I would say, whenever you're writing a program. So let's uncover that one by one. Now you see, okay, let me explain this to you. Okay, for letter in Python, right, I'm taking, and one more thing that you right, whenever you assign something, let's say for example a equal to, when you do this, right, yesterday I told you something, I mean something very important concept. Okay, when you say a of 0, it gives you p, right, a of 1, it gives you y, right, a of 2, so on and so forth. Now, but if I go out of range, it gives me an error, right? So just understand this. Okay, anyways, I have explanation of this later on, but understand this for now. If you assign a string to a variable here, right, this string acts like a list, and then you can access that individually using index 0, 1, 2, so on and so forth. Now, after having explained this, let's go back to our code. For letter in Python, that means each letter is assigned to letter 0, letter 1, letter 2, so on and so forth. Now, if letter equal to h, for the first time letter equal to p, it does not break, it just prints it. Okay, p. The second letter is y, it's still not h, y is not equal to h, it still prints it. The third letter is t, it still prints it, but whenever it goes to the fourth letter h, it just comes out of the loop, it just breaks the loop, and then the program gets over. That's break, and that means you are breaking the logical flow of your control, right? Now let's go to our continue statement. As to what happens, the same example with continue statement. Okay, For many of you, this might look like redundant, but for others, let's bear with everyone for today. And from next classes onwards, it will be newer concepts. So you don't have to learn the same thing again. But this is for everyone's benefit. Let's look at continue, right? I see there's a question there, but I'll come to that. In continue, I have P. It's similar. I print P, Y, T, and when H, it just skips the H. That means when I say continue, whenever it finds the condition, when the condition matches, it just skips that statement and then goes on to the next here data here or next loop here. So it's P, Y, T, and H is missing here because it's continue, and O and N. Okay, that's continue. And finally you have pass. Now you see this in pass block, whenever the letter matches, I'm just printing this is a pass block, right? It does not it just prints P, Y, T, and then whenever it matches H, it just goes inside here, does whatever it has, and then it skips